Update: husband was killed in a car crash and left us in debt. Original post: forgive me if this is a little disjointed. I'm still reeling from trying to wrap my head around my current situation. My husband passed away very suddenly recently, and in the week since his passing, I have discovered that he was keeping huge secrets from me. In going through our financial information, I have discovered multiple credit cards in his, mine, and the kids' names that are at a maximum balance. 2 sets of loan papers from different banks for over $20,000. Paperwork that says our mortgage is 4 months behind, and a ton of other things that I can barely make sense of. From what I can tell, his business hasn't been making any actual money in over a year, and our savings accounts are drained. There is evidence that he has been using some gambling website and has lost thousands and thousands of dollars. I've been a stay-at-home mom for our entire marriage, and he owned his own business, so he handled everything with the money. I have no idea how to deal with any of this or what to do. I know I need a lawyer, but our accounts are pretty much empty, and I'm at a total loss over what to do. Are there any free legal options I can look into? I have tried to call a bunch of lawyers that all of them have said they won't give out any advice or counsel over the phone. Am I liable for all this debt even though I didn't consent to my name, and certainly not my kids' names, being used to open credit cards? I feel like an idiot for being this uninformed, but I'm completely unprepared to deal with this, and I'm terrified we are going to lose our house and worse. I never in a million years dreamed he would do this to us. Can anyone point me in the right direction, please? Now for the top advice before reading the updates. I have discovered multiple credit cards in his name, mine, and the kids' names that are at a maximum balance. Credit cards in kids' names or your name that you did not open is identity theft. You should report it. There's a lot of good information on the r/personal finance sidebar. I'm sorry this happened to you. Good luck. OP this so much. It's identity fraud. File a police report, then send it to each of the card holders. Follow the advice on personal finance. In addition to what others have said, do not make any payments on any of your husband's debts until after you have made absolutely sure that you are responsible for them. Any type of payment or even acknowledgement of a debt can make you responsible for it even if you wouldn't have been otherwise. By absolutely sure, I mean that you've consulted a lawyer who has looked at your entire situation and concluded that you are responsible. This is not true. I worked in the estate department for half a decade in one of the big 4 banks. Just because you make a payment does not give us the right to change guarantors and be entitled to collect directly from you. It is good advice not to pay indeed, but making a voluntary payment does not obligate you to pay the rest. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. They will file a claim against the estate, then you will likely need an attorney to put together a list of assets and liabilities. Then you need to declare your right to a spousal allowance as it gets paid out before debtors get anything. Then the schedule of debts come into play, and depending on how much money falls into your husband's estate, will depend what gets paid. Much will likely be written off as long as your name wasn't attached. Making a payment on a debt that isn't yours doesn't automatically mean you assume it though. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. First, I'm very sorry for your loss. And I'm further very sorry that you were left in this awful predicament by somebody you trusted. If you are looking for free legal options, there are several in Ohio. If you search Ohio Legal Aid on Google, several organizations come up. It's going to be a bunch more phone calls, but you should be able to get help that way. Depending on your income, they'll either offer you aid or else they'll be able to refer you to an attorney. You will certainly need an attorney to navigate all of this. I hope also that you have emotional support through all of this. You are going through a lot. I wish you all the best. Now for the first update. I wanted to give you an update since so many people gave advice and said such kind things. First of all, thank you to everyone who commented and gave me advice. I'm sorry I didn't respond to the other post. I was just so completely overwhelmed. I still am really, but I did read every comment and message and I appreciate everyone that took time to comment. I was able to find some legal help, and we are working on sorting out the mess my family's in. Things were far worse than I even knew when I made my first post. Altogether, the debt that was accumulated is close to $500,000. At this point, I have no idea how much I'm going to end up responsible for. The lawyer has said it could take years to sort everything out. No matter what happens, we are going to be losing the house. I'm working on finding us somewhere to stay before they actually foreclose so we don't get evicted and have that on my record too. I want to try to answer some of the questions and advice people mentioned in the other post. I have 3 kids, so that is the we that I keep saying. The older two are from a previous relationship, but I have contacted Social Security to get benefits started for my youngest. Thank you to the user who mentioned that. My husband's business was a computer/tech repair company he ran by himself. He had a few people he would call in to help with larger jobs, but 95% of everything was him alone. Last year or so, it appears he wasn't doing any actual work and there was no money coming in. He took money from the business to cover what he took from our personal accounts, and then took out loans to cover the business, and spent it all away on gambling and other illegal activities that have come to light over the past few weeks. I'm sorry to be vague, but it's just embarrassing and hard to talk about. To the people who said that maybe the crash was intentional, it is looking increasingly likely that it was. Nobody else was involved. His car went off the road and hit a tree. He had life insurance before, but he stopped paying the policy months ago. I'm in contact with the police about the credit cards in our names and the other things that were discovered. All in all, things are looking really bleak at the moment, but I have faith that eventually it will work out. I have a few leads on jobs and have picked up a little temporary work here and there the last few weeks, so that we have something coming in. I have signed up for food stamps and Medicaid, so once that goes through, it will be a bit of help. I applied for AMHA as well, but they said waitlist can be a few years wait, so that is kind of long shot. Someone has suggested asking family/friends for help or loans, and they absolutely would help me if they could, but none of them are in a financial position to be able to help. My sister will hopefully be able to let us stay with her temporarily until I can sort things out and get us back together. She's my only living family and has been my rock through all this. So yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you all again for listening and helping. If anyone else has any more suggestions in trying to pick up the pieces that I haven't thought of, I would appreciate any advice. Second update. First of all, sorting things out didn't take nearly as long as we thought it would. Things ended up being a lot more straightforward than they first appeared. I will be filing for bankruptcy, probably early next year. I've talked intensively with a lawyer and weighed my options, and that seems like the best way to move forward at this point. 90 to 95% of the debt should be discharged with bankruptcy, so that is a good thing, although it's bittersweet. We are losing the house. We will be moving out by November 30th. I am worried about the bankruptcy/credit issues with trying to rent an apartment. However, I'm now on the list for PMHA housing, and from what I've heard, the wait isn't long at all. We ended up not being able to count on staying with my sister for longer than about a week, thanks to her jerky landlord, so I'm trying to find something else in the meantime. I have a few options to look into. Honestly, I'm not that sad about the fact that we have to move out of the house. The old place is filled with tainted memories now, and I think it will be good to get a fresh start. I've been assured by the police and my lawyer that because of the criminal nature of opening the accounts in the kids' names, we should be able to get their credit cleared. That one might be a long road, but we'll get through that too. My applications for Medicaid and food stamps came through, so that is some definite stress off my shoulders. I made the girls and myself an appointment at a family counselor, which we will be going to next week. The lady at PMHA Housing was very reassuring and very sweet about my situation, and she made it sound like I was pretty much a shoo-in as soon as a place opened up. Last but not least, I listened to the many Redditors that told me to make a post over r/Santa's Little Helpers to inquire about help with Christmas for the girls. So hopefully we will be able to find some holiday help, and that'll be another huge load of stress lifted off my shoulders. I want to thank everyone who messaged me and offered words of encouragement and support. I can't even begin to tell you how much it means to me to know that I'm not alone. I never imagined Reddit to be an empathetic and caring source of comfort, but it turns out that is exactly what it is. Thanks again, everyone. Now for the final update. Hello, everyone. I wanted to give one last update to my situation since so many of you reached out to me. This has been a whirlwind few weeks. A lot of change, a lot of stress, and a lot of hard work. As difficult as all this has been, and will still be to go through, I am feeling more positive than I have in months. The legal issues are being dealt with as best they can for the moment, and we are looking at filing bankruptcy early next year. It is scary to think about, but I do know it is our best option and things will work out in the end. We moved out of our house almost a week ago. It feels very bittersweet and the girls are having a difficult time, but I know they will adjust, and I really do think a fresh start will be the best thing for us. The girls are in individual grief counseling and we began family therapy. I will be making an appointment for myself as well, something so many of you encouraged me to do. Some of my good news now. We were able to find a permanent place to live. with a very sweet landlord who is sympathetic to my situation and has previous experience with the welfare system, and has bent over backwards to help me through all of the red tape. We will be moving, again, into the new place at the end of this month. Hopefully that will be the last time we have to move for a very long time. My second huge piece of good news to update with is that I got a job. I'm now working full-time in an office of a company that is owned by someone I met through my post here. She contacted me after my last update and offered me a trial run with her company. I started this past Monday, and so far, so good. I'm incredibly humbled and grateful to her for giving me a chance. That brings me to my third point and really the reason I'm making this update. I wasn't sure what to expect when I first reached out for advice here. I just felt so overwhelmed with the situation, and I think I was just mostly wanting to not feel alone and to connect with and talk to people who had some understanding of what I was dealing with. The advice, the stories of dealing with similar circumstances, the encouraging messages, the fact that you all literally saved Christmas for me and my kids, a new freaking job, and just the empathy and kindness you all have shown to me and my family is so far beyond anything I expected that I don't even know the words to express how grateful and humbled and loved it has made me feel. It is going to be a long, tough road, but I have total faith that things will be okay, and that it is in a large part due to the r/legal advice community. So in closing, I want to say thank you to every single person who reached out to me in any way, shape or form. Thank you for lifting us up and helping us through this. You guys have saved me in a million different ways that I will always be grateful. I hope you all have the merriest Christmas ever. I got so angry reading this. What an utter douchebag. I'll probably sound cynical, but this is the part that angers me the most. To the people who said that maybe the crash was intentional, it is looking increasingly likely that it was. And he had life insurance before, but he stopped paying the policy months ago. Selfish to the end. Yeah, my dad has some financial and health problems and ended himself. But he had life insurance policy in place that would have paid out, even if his death was ruled as self-inflicted. Most life insurance plans will pay out for self-harm if they've been kept for over 2 years. To let the payment lapse and still end yourself is incredibly messed up. Could have at least done it before you stopped being able to pay for life insurance. Sorry for your loss. My dad did the same but also had life insurance. My granddad, father's father, convinced my mother to not make a claim on a policy because it would be shameful. So instead, we lived in poverty while she worked multiple low-paying gigs to keep up with the mortgage payments and feed us kids. Wasn't until she got a new partner several years later that he talked some sense into her and convinced her to look into the policy. At that point, however, too much time had passed to make a claim. She's still living off of my home country's equivalent of Social Security, and I got to pretty much raise myself because she needed to work and there was never anyone home. I can't help but think that despite my dad's terrible choices, he at least thought we'd be set without him when in reality we are not. Now for the last story. He wants the perks of being my boyfriend but doesn't want to commit. Hi everyone. So I need to understand if I did something wrong by telling my ex-boyfriend that after I moved out and our business can run itself, I'll start traveling around the world without him. My ex-boyfriend, 23, and I, 23 female, broke up in September after being together for 6 years. I moved in with him towards the end of last year. He had made new friends and unfortunately their happiness became his priority, and I understood that. However, he attended a birthday gathering of a girl who doesn't like me and once told my boyfriend, now ex, that one day if he's drunk at a club, it's okay for him to cheat on me. She has also asked my ex why he hasn't cut me off completely since we broke up. Anyway, I confronted him about attending the party and he tried to play dumb and said he was only there to show the girl's boyfriend his support. Things got heated and we both realized that we were at different points in life and decided to end things. However, we are still sharing our apartment, and because of this, he still has access to me. He still needed us to act like a couple, so that he gets the boyfriend perks, but I'm left in a situation where I can't ask for anything, or for him to change his ways because I'm not his girlfriend. Yesterday, we were talking about moving, and I said I would be moving soon. He asked why I didn't say we are moving, and I said because we agreed that we are not moving into the same place. He had suggested that we move into the same apartment building. And if I'm being honest, I want my space. This morning, he asked if we should move to Namibia after our business can run itself. And I said I'll probably go to Europe. He asked again why I'm not including him in my plans, and I explained the same thing to him. He then asked if I'm staying with him because I want to or because of the business situation. And I again clarified that he was the one who introduced this idea of me finding my own place. Now he's sad, and he's saying he was naive to think I would still want him in my life. He wants us to be best friends, but wants me to treat him like my boyfriend. He wants me to include him in my plans, tell him everything that happens in my life, sleep with him and be there for him 24/7. I honestly feel like he wants to keep me close so that he has control over what I do and the people I meet. I no longer want to give him access to me. What he did really hurts me. I'm struggling to move past it and I still need time to heal. But I feel like he's rushing me. I do want us to be friends but on my own terms. So I need to understand if I did something wrong. Edit. To everyone who thinks it's my fault because I sent a mixed message and to all those being mean. My ex gets grumpy if I share anything he doesn't agree with. He starts banging doors and acts like he's being forced to talk when I try talking to him. He becomes very uncomfortable to be around, and his energy is draining. He also tends to stop working and often uses me voicing out my concern as an excuse for being depressed and not being able to work. This leaves me having to take on all the workload. On the day we broke up, he tried to cut me out of our business, and I have invested my life into this thing. I'm just trying to hold on until I can get the proper papers done and then leave. I'm doing the best I can with the situation before me. To everyone sending encouraging words, thank you so much. I truly appreciate your kind words and advice. I'll definitely update everyone on the day I finally move out. Now for the advice. Remind him that friends don't just sleep together or plan to spend the rest of their lives living together. That's weird as heck. Once you move out, seems like this problem also basically disappears. So that's a good idea. The only thing you did wrong was not moving out immediately and cutting contact. It's possible to be friends once the emotions of the breakup wash over. Currently, it seems your ex hasn't really grasped what breaking up really means. Show him.